To all the crazy people on social media calling her every name under the sun because she chose to play in Indiana. These are the same people that are like, oh, she'll never play in Indiana for obvious reasons. And she went and defended the Indiana fans and was like, talking about, she was basically like, talking positively about the fans that were interacting with her positively, and was responding to one of the crazy posts about her being like, I'm getting screenshots of things you were saying about me. Can you just...
DeWanna Bonner just broke her 6-month Twitter silence, and she didn't come back with a casual, hey, I'm back post. No, she dropped a bombshell that has the whole WNBA talking. Not only is she joining the Indiana Fever, but she's also flipping the script on the most tired narrative out there. You know, the one Caitlyn Clark and Indiana Fever fans are toxic. Yeah, that's gone now, as Bonner buried it with one tweet.
This WNBA offseason told a lot of dumbass narratives, right? It really did. And I hope they're gone for good. And I hope we spend so much less time discussing nonsense. But I think we've seen it stamped out this offseason. And one of those narratives was people wouldn't want to go to the Fever because of the Fever fans.
Now, you might be thinking, isn't that the team everyone loves to hate? Well, Bonner's not having it. She hit send on a tweet that's shaking the league to its core, and trust me, it's about more than just basketball.
It goes to show you that I think hopefully all that stuff has been put in the rear view, and of course Bonner is a
pro. Picture this Bonner scrolling through her phone, probably sipping on some coffee, when she stumbles across the usual nonsense fans trashing her for signing with Indiana. The haters saying no one wants to play for the Fever, and the so-called experts still clinging to the narrative, like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. But instead of ignoring it, Bonner snapped. She didn't just clap back, she obliterated that weak narrative with the prek of one of her signature shot blocks.
Y'all, I don't get on here often because this app is insanely too much sometimes. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the love I've received so far. Def not unnoticed. The love is real.
Her tweet, pure gold. She didn't just defend herself, she went all in for Indiana Fever fans. Bonner basically said, you're a loud, passionate and real. That's not toxic. That's what real fandom looks like. She didn't stop there, she called out the hypocrisy too. How is it that when other fan bases are passionate, it's support, but when Indiana does it, it's something else? Make it make sense.
She's gone online for 2 times. One is to call out the crazy people attacking her right now because she joined the Fever.
And here's why this matters. Bonner isn't just some rookie trying to make headlines. She's a champion, one of the legends of the game and a walking bucket. And when she speaks, the whole league listens. This isn't just some player venting online. This is a respected leader calling out the nonsense. She's seen it all in the WNBA. And she's not afraid to say what everyone's been thinking.
You know, Fever fans are probably starving for that. And I think seeing the validation of the players choosing their team.
But here's the plot twist. Her tweet wasn't just about the fans. Bonner basically put the entire league on notice. She made it clear Indiana isn't just teams struggling to stay relevant with Caitlyn Clark. Leading the charge, the Fever are building something special, and Bonner's here for it. She's not just joining a team, she's joining a movement. And it's funny because if you're seeing like DeWanna Bonner, if you're seeing like Natasha Howard on social media, and Natasha Herod's posts are getting 100 times more likes, and DeWanna Bonner's been reacting more positively, probably she ever has been in her career right now, and guess what? The response has been overwhelming. Fans are rallying behind her. Fever supporters are louder than ever, and even players from other teams are jumping in to show love. The narrative flipped completely.
Be an olive branch to us all to focus on the basketball. But I did think it was worth sharing simply because I know a lot of those fans, the new fans, felt rejected and beaten down a lot. And I think this is symbolic.
All those haters who swore no one wanted to play for Indiana are scrambling, pretending they never said a word. Meanwhile, Bonner, Caitlyn Clark and the Fever are out here plotting their next move, and spoiler alert, it's going to be legendary.
You know, no argument that the Fever are a great basketball destination. That Caitlyn Clark is a great basketball.
You've probably heard about the so-called Indiana Fever fan controversy. But do you really know the whole story? It all started when Alyssa Thomas Bonner's own wife decided to stir the pot. She claimed that Fever fans were so scary, players were avoiding the team, like it was some kind of basketball wasteland.
In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media.
But here's the plot twist. Despite all that noise, star players are literally lining up to join the Fever, DeWanna Bona, Natasha Howard. These aren't just role players, these are certified WNBA stars. They saw the so-called toxic fan base headlines and said, yeah, sign me up anyway. Now let's talk facts, the numbers. They don't lie, Fever fan. Engagement is through the roof, we're talking sold out. Arenas merch flying off the shelves and social media buzzing like it's draft night every day. This fan base isn't toxic, it's electric. And let's not forget the Caitlyn Clark effect. This isn't just a player making waves, she's a tsunami. Clark isn't just bringing in new fans, she's converting casuals into diehards. The same team people called irrelevant a few years ago is now the hottest ticket in town. It's like judging an entire library because one book had a torn page. Make it make sense.
The Fever fan base being painted with this broad brushstroke was always just stupid, really. There's no other word for it, because Caitlyn Clark brought more fans to the league than it's ever seen. So many of them are Fever fans, and the new fans that come in outnumber the old fans that were already there. You don't want to tell those people they're unwelcome.
So what's really going on here is the Fever fan base as mean as a few salty players claim? Absolutely not. Every team's got a couple of bad apples, that's sports, but let's be real, those people don't. Define the culture. The fan base is passionate, and that passion is exactly what's fueling the Fever's rise.
And a lot of fans, I think, felt unwelcome as a result of that, because when you look at every sport and every fan base, there are going to be bad apples. With every group of people, there are. And the larger that group becomes, of course, then the larger the small percentage of bad apples are. But if you've ever followed sports, you see people acting stupid online or even live at games.
Here's the reality. Why are star players suddenly flocking to Indiana? It's simple. They see the vision. They know what's cooking in that front office. Maybe it's the chance to win, maybe it's the endorsements, or maybe just maybe they realize that Indiana Fever fans are the backbone of something special. Not the problem
it is, if you're good and you're playing well, it's great to be a Fever. If you're playing badly, it is the worst place you can be. And if you're a WNBA player, you've got to be able to handle that.
You've got to be able to handle that. The WNBA's landscape is shifting and Indiana's at the center of it. So to the haters, keep talking, because while you're busy tweeting, the Fever are busy winning. Think about it for a second. If the Indiana Fever's fan base was really that terrible, would top-tier players be lining up to sign contracts? Yeah, I didn't think so. It's almost like the narrative some people push doesn't match. Reality shocking, right? What these athletes see is something completely different from the tired old headlines. And honestly, they're the ones who matter with
Natasha Howard. It was very clear that like that potential for stardom, which she never had in her career, no matter how good she's been, outweighed like any potential like downsides of playing for the Fever. And then for DeWanna Bonner, she had all those connections to Indiana. She had connections to
You might think you've got the full story about the Indiana Fever, but there's a comeback happening right now that nobody predicted. Remember when people acted like the Fever were some kind of basketball wasteland? What changed? Let's break down how Indiana flipped the script and silenced the haters first. We've got to talk about Caitlyn Clark. She's not just a superstar, she's a walking headline, a sellout crowd magnet, and the kind of player who can single-handedly turn a struggling franchise into must-see TV. The energy she's brought to the Fever is unreal. The stands packed, the merch flying off shelves. Suddenly, Indiana looks like the place every player wants to be.
And like I've said, there's so many pros to playing for the Indiana Fever. The pros being that you get more attention, you get more endorsements, you get a chance to win, you get fans on the road or away, or at home. You know, all these things come to you when you're playing.
But here's where it gets even juicier. It's not just about Clark. A culture was built thanks to the Fab Four of Clark Alia, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. A culture of teamwork, camaraderie. We're all here for the ride. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. So you never miss out, click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.